DazYummy!
Hello everyone and welcome to we're making some chorizo molletes. This Mexican recipe tends to be overlooked and it has just a few ingredients packed with flavor. You're gonna love it, so let's get started. For this recipe you're going to need 2 large bolillos or 4 small ones. These ones you can get them at your local Mexican bakery or supermarket. Close to a pound of chorizo or longaniza. You're also going to need about roughly a pound of cooked beans. You can use any that you like. I'm using homemade. You can also use store-bought or canned. And this is optional. This is to add more flavor to the beans, but around 6 pickled serranos. These are the ingredients for the salsa that will go along with our dish. You need around 3 large tomatoes. I'm using organic tomatoes from my parents' garden. A quarter of a red onion and a little bit of cilantro, a bunch of cilantro. And lastly, you need any melting cheese of your choice. I'm using pepper jack habanero cheese. You can use any of that you like. Well, the first step is to make our salsa, which is going to be like a pico de gallo that we'll be serving with our molletes. We're not finely chopping the veggies. We are just going to roughly chop them because we're going to be making it in the ninja, so it's going to be like a chunky salsa. This salsa, you can use it for any type of dish. It's great, super easy to make. Also, it's optional to use jalapenos or serranos because if you really like the spice, you can add as many as you want. This time I'm not adding any, but sometimes I do add some if I want to add that spice to it. I added a little bit of water because these tomatoes are not as juicy as other tomatoes, so it just depends on the juiciness of your tomatoes. And of course I added a pinch of salt, although salt is not necessary. It's up to you depending on your likes. We're using the ninja, but we are not going to blend it. We're just gonna like chop it. You can use a food processor if you want, but it's not gonna be a completely blended salsa. So let's get going. So for the mode I'm using is only the pulsing mode, so I'm just gonna pulse. That should be fine. It's done. As you can see, it's not completely blended. It's just chunked. There's still chunks in there and it's really thick. Yeah, the salsa is done. See, super chunky and thick. We like this consistency. We still have the salsa consistency, but it's chunky as you can see. Ooh, salsa is completely done. Let's get our dish ready. We're going to start by cooking the chorizo. Depending on which chorizo you're using, some of them take longer than others. You don't need any oil for this because the chorizo already has grease. So make sure you cook your chorizo all the way through, and you'll see in a little bit how to tell the chorizo is completely cooked. You can use chorizo or longaniza. The only difference is chorizo is more of mix of different meats, and it's fattier. It has also more spices to it. Sometimes it has a spicy kick. Compared to longaniza, is more ground meat and it has less spices in it, so it has less fat. So whichever is your preference. I have used both. And I don't mind using either one. Sometimes, depending on the dish, I use longaniza, but I love using both of them. And the chorizo is already cooked. As you can see, it's already like crumbling apart. It's starting to brown. All the fat is released. So that's how you know it's done. As you can see, the texture is different and it's getting darker. That means I like mine to be a little bit more browned up. That's why I'm still cooking it before I add the beans. We're gonna add the beans right here and we're gonna smash everything together. So our chorizo is ready. I just added the beans. We're gonna mix it up and make sure you don't have too much liquid on your beans because we want this to be chunky. And this is the time to add our chiles. Now your chiles, the pickled serranos. If you don't want to add the spiciness, that's fine. You don't have to. Mix everything together and then we're gonna smash them in a little bit. And we're smashing it with the chiles so it can release all the flavor of the pickled serranos. But we're gonna eventually take out the pickled serrano. Some people use dry chiles too. Those can work as well, whichever you prefer, or you can omit. You can see the beans start changing color with the chorizo, and it's like it gives it so much flavor. It's the best way to make refried beans. Such a great combination. The beans are done. As you can see, this is a thick consistency. We want this, we don't want them runny, and we're gonna start getting our bolillos ready. We're going to start by cutting our bolillos in half only, like if we're making a sandwich. As you can see, we're cutting all the way through. Now we're cutting our second bolillo. These bolillos are so fresh, that's why they're so soft. But we're gonna toast them after everything is put together. We're gonna toast them in the oven. As you can see, they're so spongy, and I love that feeling of the bolillo, so spongy. We're gonna start by putting our refried beans with the chorizo on our bread. And put generously because we want them really filled with that chorizo and beans. Look at that. Oh, the smell is amazing. I absolutely love eating refried beans like this. It's amazing. You can just eat them with tortilla and tacos. You can eat it by itself with eggs. But this way of making refried beans is my family's favorite way of eating them with mixed with the chorizo and chiles. It's so flavorful. Yummy. So you can see we still have a lot of leftover refried beans, and that's okay because the amount of beans and chorizo is meant for, I would say, like around 6 to 8 halves of bolillos, okay? Depending on the size of the bolillo and how much you put on each one. I put a lot on mine, but you can use it for more depending on the size of your family or for tacos or any other recipe that you want. Time to put our cheese. The reason I like using sliced cheese because it's a little bit easier to keep it in place on our bolillos rather than the shredded one. Especially if we're melting, it's gonna all still melt in place. And I recommend using pepper jack like always because you can never go wrong with pepper jack. And put as much as you want. I like my food to be cheesy. It's time to toast them, and we're gonna toast these bad boys in the air fryer so it's nice and crunchy and super melted. Gonna put them inside the air fryer. Make sure it's on air fry mode. We're gonna do a 390 for around 10 minutes because it's on air fry mode. It's a little bit faster to toast them and melt. And here we go. Ready. Take the energy from the cheese, and there's still some. Super cheesy, as you can see. Look at that. Delicious, that smell. Can't wait to try them. The chorizo molletes are done. Time for my favorite part, which is trying it out. Look at that. Can't wait to try them. So I cut mine in half before I try it because these are large bolillos, so it's a little bit easier to bite. And I'm gonna put my salsa. I recommend using avocado too to top them. This time I didn't have any, but they always pair up perfect with avocado. Salsa. That is yummy, delicious.